Welcome to SASS Mass, our spirituality and support symposium. Think morning witchy chats around a campfire. The recording has started, and by participating in SASS, you agree to read the terms of engagement, which I'm posting in the chat. Bam. We ask that you mute during the recording for clarity of the afterplay and just for general hygiene, virtual hygiene. If you would like to participate and we can change, like if we start on a topic, you can change topics, just use that raised hand reaction. If you want to weigh in on the current topic so we know not to switch it up, then you will do the raised hand so we can keep track, and then just also type weigh in the chat. We try to keep a flow going, so if you see who's next, you can just call out the next person. And if you don't do that, I'll do it, so it's okay. But we try to kind of keep the flow going with a handoff. I will be the moderator today, and I'll start off with a few announcements. So we have some new boxes in the shop. I don't know if I'm going to say it right. Do you pronounce it cachet or cash? Cachet? Cachet. Fancy? Okay. And so basically it doesn't replace anything if you don't want it to. So the new broom box will still continue to have the items for Witchwork Circle, as well as the spellcraft kit. That's another thing that you can do as far as a subscription to get your supplies for Witchwork Circle. But the cachet box is brand new in the shop, and it's to support your magical practice. But it does not relate to the Witchwork Circle. So you can use it for any of your witchy activities that you may need it for, any spell work or any rituals or ceremonies that you might be doing. And Kim, Jemmary, do you want to add anything?
We designed this box for witches that are needing structure for their practice, but not like, dogma or anything like that, of that kind of structure. So it's stuff that we will use kind of on a regular basis. So the candles that you would use for a like weekly ritual practice, the incense that you would need for a weekly ritual practice. We want to introduce new tools or magical allies. So a new crystal or a new tool of some sort every month. All of the incense that we put in the box and the other fun bits are all aligned with the astrological stuff that is going on that month. So it is a magically sound, supportive box for your practice, and everything in the box again is aligned with connection-based magic. So it is all handcrafted with intention with like ceremonial grade supplies. And that just means that it's not that everything has been cleansed, it's that everything has been mindfully selected from the very beginning, from creation. You don't have to cleanse all of the like whatever from it. Does that make sense? So we wanted to create something that is for magical practitioners. And this is going to be something that's going to evolve a bit as we kind of get into the swing of it and kind of gauge interest. We're not going to launch the subscription until we get, some people on that waiting list. I think we decided 10 to 20 people. Then we're going to start like pumping out the boxes. So if you're interested, get on that waiting list. We're also going to have a different brochure in this box explaining everything that's going on and explaining kind of like what we're doing. We're even considering doing a suggested spell of the month kind of a thing. So it's going to be fun. It is something different for all of you that have been dedicated new broom box subscribers. This is something fun and new. So yay for that. Um, anything else, Maria?
So we are closing out the end of the month, and for those of you in the foundations program, the workbook for the end of the month, the reflection, is posted in Teams, and that is it. We'll be starting the new month on the 1st and posting that workbook um, for December on the 1st. Um, only other thing that we have going on that we've mentioned is for those that are maybe interested in the in-person convergence. That's going to be in April of this year, and WIT has a post. I saw some of you interacting with the post earlier today, so there's that going on if you haven't read that yet. Ta-da! That's all for me.
I my body is going through something this weekend, so I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay on today. Uh it's a long story, and I don't want to like dive into things because I don't want to get you guys all worried because I am not concerned. But yeah, it's been a wild ride the last 24, almost 48 hours. Um so I'm doing all the things and have my doctors involved and everything, and we're making sure that there's not anything like super concerning, but weird stuff is going on. I have like this mild headache, and I'm not like super chatty, but I figured I wanted to come to SAS to just spend time with you guys because it's food for my soul, taking care of my heart and soul part. And I've been doing a good job taking care of my physical body as well. Um, what have you guys been up to? What have you guys been thinking about? What's on your minds this week? Yeah, I have a yes. I'm not going to be able to get away with not telling you guys, am I? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's like as soon as SAS is over, I'm going to get like bombarded with calls. Might as well just kill it. Yeah, I woke up yesterday morning, uh, and I did not want a breakfast sandwich. Right, for those of you that know me. Yeah, I even the thought of eating, I couldn't do it, which is very strange for me. Um, and I couldn't even get through a cup of coffee and was just like feeling really off and strange. And I went to go start working on my ceremonial robes, and just a wave hit me and I got sick. I threw up, got really sick. And no fever or anything like that. And no one else in my house is sick. We've all eaten the same thing. It's not food poisoning, it's not anything like that. And my whole body for the whole day yesterday felt like I had goosebumps and could not warm up. But again, no fever. So, when you have goosebumps and your skin is just really sensitive to everything, that's what it was like all day yesterday. And the only thing that brought any kind of, and my whole body ached, almost uh like I had the flu, but I tested negative for the flu. So I tested negative for flu, negative for COVIDs. And by the time my doctor sent me to urgent care. So I went to urgent care where I got all those tests. And so wasn't any of that. And then got home and just fell asleep. I couldn't stay conscious yesterday. And then by 8 o'clock at night, I just got a sudden really high fever that lasted about an hour, and then it was gone. And then here we are. So it's like the epitome of weird. I'm not, uh, like, again, I'm not worried or stressed about it. I can remember times in my life where when I when weird health stuff would happen, I'd immediately be all like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna suffer. It's gonna be terrible." But after like the third time you almost die, you're kind of like, "Meh, whatever, you know." So, uh, because I've had so many recent abdominal surgeries, the my doctors are a little bit more like concerned that there would be something like some kind of obstruction or something. So we're just kind of paying attention. I'm eating fine and drinking fine now. I'm not throwing up anymore. But my body is most definitely not like stoked about something. I One thing that keeps going over and over in my head though is the how much my like attitude and approach to being sick or unwell is. Like it's changed so much. I see this as, oh, great. This is an awesome opportunity for me to prove to myself and my system that I am sincerely um, prioritizing them. And I'm not pushing through. Uh, I didn't like keep working on my ceremonial robes or keep like pushing through things. I actually chose to rest and to prioritize rest and not guilt and shame myself for resting, which is like, y'all know how hard that is. But I feel like I have gotten to that point. But some of that is because I'm so well supported. I do have an amazing group of witches and family that take care of me when I have um, to prioritize taking care of myself. So for all of you who are in that group, thank you. You guys are amazing. To not have to worry about everything falling apart if I don't have my hands all up in everything is pretty freeing. It's pretty amazing. Um, but yeah, I it feels really tender, like really emotionally tender. Um, it's like I have these strong urges and reaching out to people I care about and like, hey, I love you, crying. For those of you that have gotten those in the last 24 hours, that's apparently what my system's doing. And you'll probably, if you haven't gotten one yet, you're probably going to get one in the next 48. Ugh. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's weirdly warm up in Alaska. It's like over 35, almost 40 degrees outside. And I'm existing, and that's okay. So how are you guys existing? Silent.
2 degrees warmer than Wasilla.
Yeah. Yeah. Alaska doesn't even care anymore. Like, I do what I want when I want. It was like sub-zero 3 days ago, and now it's flirting with the 40s. I give up. Trying to figure it out. You guys are allowed to just sit here and stare at me awkwardly. I know. If I don't see drool, I'm gonna be disappointed. Hi, Ray. Yeah, I'm literally just here to be with my cousins, and that's it. And I love how more and more of you guys just keep showing up. It's pretty great. How was Oh, I just got a wave of a little something. How was y'all's holiday week? Right? This is the first time that we're getting together after some of us have experienced I mean, there's thing about the holidays, especially for those of us that have either had close family members pass on or in some ways remove themselves or not be there, and showing up to like a family dinner when a family member isn't there can be very, very, very difficult. And for all of you that experienced that, from someone who's has half of my siblings have transitioned out of this incarnation, uh, that alone is a lot, much less just the fact that you're having to interact with people that you don't necessarily interact with, or you have chosen to have healthy boundaries that limit that contact. I'm proud of you for choosing to prioritize your system right now for healing and giving that space. And for those of you that were around family and had had to uh, went through that process of like heavy high emotions, I'd like to offer an astral hug because it's a lot of processing. Um, and you're doing a good job. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh. So I just wanted to you asking about the holidays and everything, and I started off on Thursday. I was doing really good, better than I thought I would. Um, since I didn't have any family to spend it with, I was alone for Thanksgiving. Um, and God, the first half of the day, I was doing so good. Like, I even talked with Ocean, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna socialize. I'm going to accept the feelings as they come up, but not let them take me down so hard. And then halfway through the day, I don't know what caused it, but a huge wave of that depression just hit me so quickly, and I thought I was doing well. But there's something about being alone on the holidays and not having family to spend it with, or even friends to spend it with. Um, that was really hard. And so, but I made it through. So that's good. I'm really hoping that Christmas is better. I don't know. It's really hard being alone for the holidays. And I really wish that all of you just freaking lived in California. I want that so bad. Actually, no. I want to. Y'all can pick somewhere else, and we'll just all move. I don't want to live in California, but I just was really missing you guys and wanted to see you and wanted to spend the holidays with you all. But I'm hoping Christmas will be better. That's all.
Karen.
Couldn't get the mute to work. I used to refer to the holidays as the black season, from like the first note of Christmas music that you hear in the grocery store until, the last engagement photo of Valentine's Day is posted. It all sucked. This year, and a lot of other years, it just decided to reframe and mindfully not allow all of the commercialism. And like I said, all of the every kiss begins with K. And if you're not getting a car for Christmas, you're not loved. All that, baloney. Thursday, I didn't do anything. I'm in the middle of the family squabbles after Dad passed. And so I bought a bunch of junk food and taquitos and, hung out in TikTok. And, it really helped being reminded by other witches that, it's a bullshit holiday. And yeah, how's your bird taste now, bitches? Shout out to Julie out there if you're still in here, but that was fucking awesome because that's the truth of it. It's all you're not loved enough if you're not swarming with family around you and $10,000 worth of gifts that you still can't pay for. You're gonna be paying for those till June. It's all baloney. Last year, this time I started the witchy way. And because it was Thanksgiving sucked. It's only been a year. It's hard to believe. It seems like it's been more than that, but it was a year. And so I've done that in the Discord. I haven't been in there, but y'all are invited. It is not affiliated with, we're not connected to Foundation's program of Broughton Dark, but y'all, we're the only members in there. So, take that for what it is. And y'all are welcome to hang out in there and start your own meetings and play nice. And until otherwise, I'm trying to make my way in there as much as I can. And there's a lot of emotional shit that, I'm struggling with. And that's why I haven't been as, because it is between the loss of my dad, the holidays, not knowing where I'm ending up next. Some days it's hard to find enough fucks to just show up for myself or, but I'm thinking of you guys, and that space is available to you, and so you don't have to be alone, and you're always welcome to reach out to each other and start a meeting in there. Like I said, until play nice until we can't play nice, and then we'll make the necessary changes. But it's a space for Foundation members not affiliated with or belonging to the Foundation member program. But I'm just kidding. That was my little stupid lawyer joke. But but it is a place for everybody to hang out and talk about shadow work, talk about being alone, talk about our feelings. So, and that's all I got. And who has their Alicia? Love that hat, by the way.
Karen, would you like me to post the thing for you in the chat? Okay. I do that for someone, Petra, I think asked. I will do that. Sorry, Alicia. Thanks for letting me cut.
No problem. I did it all last week too. Ray, I just wanted to say, I just kept getting this over and over again, like hearing, I know missing people and family members is extremely painful. And I know it sucks to not be with family for the holidays. I've experienced that too. It sucks. But the one thing that I kept getting pinged over and over again is to say, you know what? The fact that you care, the fact that you have people who have cared for you and that you still feel that caring, that love, and that missing somebody like that and that need, like that really does say a lot. That says so much about where you're at as a person. Like you are still connected to your feelings, you are still connected to the love, you are still connected to lots of things. Even if you can't physically have it around with you, there's a lot to be said for being able to have had that and miss that and know that it'll be there, they'll be there for you again. There, even if it's maybe not the same people and not the same ways. But I don't know, I just kept being like, oh, that's a good thing. You're connected. You're still here. There's still enough of you that's there, that's caring about that. It sucks and it's hard and it's horrible to have to go through. But it just felt like there was like, it's just like a little squeeze to your heart, like just give you some love. It's there and it's a good thing in a lot of ways, even if it really hurts and sucks. So that's all I was going to say about that.
Thank you, Alicia. That's really true.
I'm weighing into, so I got to get in on this. Ray. This is actually like, it's kind of a, not blanket statement, but, when you were talking about, I hope that it's better, that Christmas is better than Thanksgiving. And get this, this urging of what do you mean by better? What do you mean by better? What do
My
you hope
coping
is,
skills.
what does that mean?
Basically, I hope that I am able to get through it easier without so much, honestly, without so much, I don't know how to,
I know. So are you saying that that it will be acceptable as long as you are not grieving, as long as you are not hurting, as long as you are not missing company,
no, because
or that
there's
you are
nothing
doing your
wrong with
best?
those.
Right.
It's
See,
just what I,
and what I'm getting at is that, you know, just because something is challenging or difficult, just because we are having a hard time processing it, that means that there's a lot there and it needs to be processed. That means that if you're feeling something, then you need to feel that. If it's coming up for you, it needs to come up, right? And when we're in this resistance and say, "Oh, I'm having a bad time. It's bad that I'm feeling this." Yeah, it's difficult. It's hard to process. It takes your attention. And when it comes to the real deep stuff, it takes a lot more of your attention, but you are worthy of your attention. These times that you're able to have these holidays to yourself and for you to be able to really feel into what really is coming up for me. What am I upset about? What am I believing about this that's causing this to come up, right? And sometimes we're like, "Oh, I'm alone. I'm all by myself and that's why life is terrible," right? Um, you're allowed to grieve a life that you wanted or expected. You're allowed to grieve that, right? That doesn't make it like that's not bad. It's not you being foolish. You're allowed to grieve that, but when we apply like, morality like good and bad to these kinds of processes, it makes us in resistance. Of course, you're going to feel it deeper. It's the dark times. It's the dark time of the year. You are going to process this like being alone on a family holiday in the springtime way different than you would in the wintertime because it hits deeper now because of our physical body's reaction to less sun. When we You're allowed to feel your feelings, but what stories are you telling yourself as you are feeling these feelings? That's where your attention needs to go to. What are you telling yourself? Right?
thank you for that reminder because it's, I have been placing a lot of morality on things that just are. They really shouldn't be bad or good. But I I'm sorry, I'm having so much trouble forming words.
You don't have to. You don't have to form words. Like it's a really difficult habit to break. It's just a way that we were taught to think about things. If I'm not getting a Christmas gift, then nobody loves me, right? Weren't we just talking? If we weren't just talking about this, I heard it somewhere else. But this is like that's not true. That's like a Hallmark holiday. That's like if you don't get gifts showered upon you, then nobody loves you. That's not true. We're all fucking broke, yo. Like that's not it's not how that works. And I mean, I even hate that word broke. But anyway, that and people, you not going to a family dinner or whatever, like And granted, I have been the fucking weirdo in the family that hasn't celebrated Thanksgiving for decades, and I used to get so much pushback because I was like, "No, I'm not going. Fuck that. Celebrate what? I don't tend to celebrate genocide. Like, it's not really my thing." Um, and I've been the Scrooge at Christmas too. I refuse to play White Elephant. I think it's fucking stupid. And at like holiday parties at work, like you name it, I'm the Scrooge that's calling everyone out on their bullshit. And that it hurts because, you're lonely, but you're doing something that you believe in. You're doing something that you know is right. And when all of those emotions come up, the best way that I've found for that is furious journaling in the winter time. Like, get yourself a special journal for the winter time. And when you have those times where you're feeling very deeply, just start writing what you're thinking. What is your mind telling you that is bringing up these things, and just write it all out. It's really good data, because in that data, you're going to find little Ray that's really scared and lonely and just needs your attention. And you can't connect to little Ray unless you let those emotions pull them up out of the darkness. Emotions are effervescent, right?
That really clicked what you said about I need to be connecting with little Ray. That yeah, I think you're 100% correct about that. And the thought of I like the thought of having a journal just for winter, because like you said, that is really good data. And that, yeah, I'm gonna do that, so thank you.
Is it me? Am I next? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure. Ray, is it okay if I say something that might be kind of pokey?
Yes. Yes, it is okay.
Okay. So as a person who was interacting with you that day, I wanted to point out that I don't know if you remember how our conversation ended, but your phone was dying. And we were going to try to hang out later when your phone was like more charged. But when we connected later over text, you were like, actually, I think I need to spend the evening with my body. I don't think I want to socialize. And I wanted to point out that you're already showing up for yourself. Like you're already coping better than, or not better, but you're already actively coping instead of like avoiding sitting with your feelings by leaning into the aloneness. Like it feels like it's lonely, but it's only if you're not acknowledging that you're there that it becomes like, I need somebody else. Somebody else has to make me feel not alone because I'm not here. If that makes sense.
Are you meaning like I'm not alone because I have like myself, and so I'm not? Can you explain that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. When you feel lonely, it is because you, as the observer of your body, your mind, and your energy, are not acknowledging that these parts of you are with you. Of
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
course.
And I was talking with my therapist too about how it's so hard for me to acknowledge that I actually am doing better than I think I am. like with the coping and everything. And I guess that's just because I'm impatient and I want it to all be healed and I want to be, the word that keeps coming up is better, but I don't know. I do struggle a lot with realizing that I am coping better than I think I am. Go ahead, Ocean.
Sorry, can I just ask one more question really quick? And it's just that do you believe that if you are doing well, then you won't receive support anymore?
I mean, yeah. I do.
Well, that's just silly because you'll have support even if you're successful. I'm sorry, I had to say something. That is all.
Thank you. This is why I like you, Ben. Thank you. I know it's silly. The second Ocean said it like that, yeah, okay. Things are clicking. I don't know who was next, Jenna.
Ben, do you want to give your full weigh in, or is that the weigh in?
That was the way, not from before. That thought has completely left us. It's gone. It has returned to the ether. But
Okay.
I just needed to say that.
No problemo. Let me see. Hold on. I just want to check. So, oh, I think I had my hand up. Did I put it back down? I don't know what I'm doing either. Okay, I think we got everyone. I had a quick weigh in, and this might also feel pokey. But what kind of came up for me, first of all, I just like Ocean wanted to acknowledge there, like that was like a mic drop. So thank you for the mic drop, Ocean. What the aha moment, whatever, whatever you call it. That made me like stop in my tracks and be like, whoa, yes, you know. Um, the reason, like the foundations too, is kind of structured in this like monthly journal prompt way, so we can ease into, sometimes not ease into, sometimes it hits you like a ton of bricks, but some, however you go into it. um because wanting to, that like, then the holiday times come, and if those in the past have been harder, or that circumstances have come up where you like need that support, um not just, and of course, like then then the support might look different, or you might need extra support like during that time, but go kind of like, not maybe, in my perspective in it, like engaging with shadow work, like in the way that I do with the journal prompts, or however you do it. To me, like doing it all year, it helps me like ease into the harder times because I'm kind of like practicing it. So that's like one way. This is always like a good time to start. I don't do New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but I reframe it a bit different. But if you feel like, if you're getting a ping, like just from what you've said in the words that you're kind of been using about, like you want to maybe engage with it differently. And so, I just offer like kind of trying to engage and work through it throughout the year, rather than like all kind of almost piling up at like the harder times, if that makes sense. So you can kind of like engage with your system throughout the year as you feel you can. And then there may be times where you absolutely just need like the rest, you know, but like by this time next year, like you don't have to sort it out, you know, all in November or all in December, you know, like you can kind of sort through it as and work with your system with it like throughout the year. And that's not to say that you have to do like this intense deep shadow work like all of the time. You know, that's why I kind of like to spread it out. So I don't, so like, and you know, and then I really get that data about, you know, like what maybe cycles come up, you know, throughout the year, and then knowing like in particular like these times can be harder. Um, and then just something else that you said, like kind of your barometer about like what was like, or something about like what was good. Um, like so like you kind of rated like it being a good like Thanksgiving if you weren't feeling depressed, you know? Um, but just a reframing could be just that, you know, that just was how you were feeling, and it's okay to feel however you're feeling if that just comes up, you know, and just knowing that, and you know, knowing that, and knowing like what supports maybe, rather than like going back to kind of that good bad thing, you know, like it's okay to feel your feelings, and it doesn't mean that you like did something wrong, or like, you know, rating success of like the holidays, you know, it's okay to feel sad because it just it just brings up a lot of stuff like missing people, or for ourselves and for everything else. That is all. You're doing great, Jim Marie.
Thank you,
I'm coming
Marie.
back at you, Ray.
Oh
Okay.
gosh, go for it.
I know, I'm doing it again. What is success and better? Like I hear you keep saying that I just wish I would do better. I wish that and what does better look like? What does that look like for you? Like your ideal holiday season, what does that look like?
To me, when I say I just want to be better, it's the one thing that comes to me is I don't want the fact that I don't have any more family to spend the holidays with. I want to be better at not letting that affect me so much.
But it does. But it does affect you, Ray. And
It,
so what if this was something that you needed to do for your system? It was like, you know what? A big family holiday dinner is important to me and to my system. So I am going to plan a big holiday dinner, potluck style, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of fucking work with all of the people that you care about. And it can be a virtual thing. It doesn't have to be an in-person thing. You could all be on a bunch of phones and all having your own candlelit dinner together if you wanted to. Your imagination is your only limitation here. It is not that you don't have people that care about you or that you don't have family, right? It's that you have grown to the point that you have healthier boundaries as far as who and what you expose your system to, right? That I consider that success. I consider that better, right? And this is why it's such a good idea to do this deep journaling during this time of the year so that you can see your growth, right? Not doing better. How much have you grown in this last year? How much, what is your depth or capacity for compassion this year compared to last year? Like that's a measure of success and growth, right? But to decide to determine your, like, you know, holidays based on how you were accepted by someone that is not capable of seeing past the end of their own nose right now. Like, what are you wishing for? Right?
That's true because my brain is always saying like I miss my family, I miss those big holidays, and it's like sometimes I think like why? Like why do I miss someone who has no respect for my boundaries, has no respect for who I am? Like
Right.
you're making so many things click in my brain right now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell Ben, write it down, Ben, whatever you have. Dear God, write it down. Because it's going to be a minute. um, Ray, the flip side of this coin is those memories of the big fun holiday stuff. A lot of times are the memories of a child that it's glossing over the bullshit or the broken stare. You are actively like denying the broken stare when you're thinking of these like happy fluffy memories that you were exposed to. What's the reality of this holiday season as an adult looking back? Like, are you missing something that was never there in the first? Are you missing something that you need to create? Is that a feeling signature that you need to be a part of creating? Because that's not a feeling signature that was true of the past. You were making it into something that you needed. So why not make it for real? Mic drop. Go ahead, Ocean.
Well, I was also going to bring up the inner child work, but I did have a story to share about myself that I think might be uh, relative for you, Ray. And that's that I was also feeling pretty good on Thanksgiving um, until it came to dinner. And one little thing went how I didn't expect it to, even though it didn't get messed up. That all the feelings that I had been ignoring kind of came out for the day. And I could feel myself like I could feel my inner child throwing a fit because I was like, I started crying and I was like, I just want someone else to cook dinner. I've never had to cook a holiday dinner before. And uh, it made me realize that a lot of the traditions that I was holding on to were harming me. The things that I was idealizing were actively harming me because they weren't what actually made me happy. The things that made me happy were not being alone while I was in the middle of trauma. That's what made me happy during family holidays. Is the conclusion I came to. I don't have any further information. Go ahead, Ben.
Yay, I made it here and the thought still remains and retains in my brain. Um, I just wanted to remind you that although your given family may have left, your chosen family is totally all around you all the time. I mean, we can be your chosen family, but I'm sure there are people who are close to you, like geographically speaking, that you would consider to be a part of your chosen family, and that chosen family is also a part of the celebration of this holiday, specifically Thanksgiving and Christmas. Like, it's not just about who you were born to and who you are blood related to. It is also about the connections that you make outside of that, kind of like your tribe, however you want to call it. But that although your given family may have passed, your chosen family is with you to not only hold you and support you through whatever, but also to help, like, what is the word? Honor the people who have left us, because I mean, they technically exist within you, so they're still here, right? Like the little bits and things that you do that they did, or your nose looks like them, your eyes look like them, your eyebrows, your ears. You could pick apart your whole face and attribute it to different your mother or your father, you know? And so I don't know. I too have to remind myself of this all the time, which is why it was a thought. Because I am absolutely the black sheep in my family. Thanksgiving was great for me this year until the after Thanksgiving meal conversation, where it ended with my oldest brother telling me that I just didn't know. I just didn't know how to Google it correctly. You just don't understand the thing you think is absolutely incorrect. And that's kind of the wall that I meet with him all the time. And I was getting on myself, making it like, oh, I'm upset. And then reminding myself, like, no, this is kind of the impasse that we come to all the time, is that when we disagree, he's going to come at me violently. And I literally just don't adhere to that kind of conversation anymore. And so instead of engaging, I disconnect. But I mean, all the same, like, the day after, I met up with my friend, her son, and her husband, and we went for a walk at night after I got out of work. And it was a blast. And it was a way that we could celebrate Thanksgiving without like the meal and because food and me are always like it's been an issue without actually being a conscious issue for a really long time. So adding all of that extra pressure just makes things worse. But yeah, now I'm tangenting. So I will pass it on to the next person. That is Matt.
Hello. Yeah, so I dealt with this year quite a bit, the whole family stuff. About 3 or 4 years ago, I elected to go to a friend's house instead of the big family dinner. That wasn't a big deal. But this was like the first year where it was just better I wasn't there. No bad, no blow up, but specifically Ray, something I found to be true for me through oh, my phone go haywire.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, the screen changed, but you guys can still hear me. Anyways, so when we're children in those family environments, we don't have the consciousness we do as adults for boundary setting and healthy boundary setting and the love that comes with that healthy boundary setting and new kinds of intimacy that can be open in your relationships. And something we forget is we did genuinely love those people as children. We did genuinely, fill our cups from those people. And as we go through our work as adults and have better clarity as to what was really going on behind the scenes and whatnot, and we see what messes there were and what boundaries were being violated and all the other nonsense that goes on. Sometimes the pain of realizing that those people aren't capable, they just aren't capable of the same kind of love that you are, is more painful than the actual not hanging out with them. What really burns is just knowing that they can't keep up with you anymore. And yeah, so you go to the chosen family. My experience was I did absolutely nothing on Thursday, and I hung out with one of the local pagan groups and did a potluck Thanksgiving on Friday, and it was awesome. And great community, and I really, I got my cups filled from having people who just totally, instead of all the weird and woo being a black sheep thing, it's oh yeah, let's all swap stories and all that kind of stuff. And it was great and super fulfilling. And that works for me. But hopefully some of that separating, hey, it's okay to acknowledge that that's real love as a child and didn't know any better, and doesn't make it any less real or less valid. And there is a grief of the loss of, the realization of losing, that you just never be able to love them in the same way, probably, unless they do some growth of their own. Ta-da! That's it for me.
I think I'm next. Let me make sure. Yes. Check the chat. I just want to like acknowledge that Ray, I put myself on mute. It's like, no, you're talking, you can stay off mute. I just wanted to acknowledge that the feelings are really intense about like what we feel we're supposed to do, or what we feel is like, because it's so ingrained in us from media to family pressure, wanting to like hang on to like those childhood memories that we felt joy, but like it is deep. Like this is so deep, and having that feeling, like when y'all were talking and then like it brought up this memory, like one year I had a restraining order on my brother and it was Christmas. And like my mom kept calling me, telling me to come over to the house. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, but she was, I don't know, worried about feeling embarrassed, like just not having the like ideal. This was Christmas time. I don't know like what her reasons are, but that was like a moment that I was like, this, like that was like overpowering, like all of those feelings of just, like not wanting to feel embarrassed by not going, not wanting to feel guilty, like wanting to just keep up the like appearances of it. And it started like a bit of my aha moment where I was just like, that was like so deep, and like those feelings were so overwhelming. I was like, but isn't like my safety most important? Like, like shouldn't that be what's important? Like, shouldn't you be like, yes, if of course, if you don't feel safe around someone, you shouldn't show up. But it wasn't. It wasn't like what was actually happening, and then, like those of us that, parents may have felt separated, and then like, feeling like I had to drive to see everybody. And I was like, I'm not even having like a good time because I'm just like driving around, because it was like feeling the pressure of needing to just get to everybody's house so I could make sure they were happy, like that they had a nice holiday. And then, I mean, it took a long time to sort out a lot of that. And that's kind of what I was saying before of like sorting out those feelings throughout the year. And that first started with therapy. Like I first started sorting it out in therapy, and then going to therapy like a long time, and then, and then didn't start an active shadow work process until I started Bright and Dark, at the end of 2021. But it just took a lot of sorting out. But the sorting out, for like, if it resonates with anyone, the sorting out bit of it and the deconstructing of all of it is like, what do the holidays really mean to me? Like, um and like what is really important? Like, why am I doing this? And yes, like, right, can those feelings that I'm trying to capture, like the feelings of joy, like how can I just create that in a way that feels good? But it did take like a lot of sorting out, and the deconstruction and also community, like finding people that I was kind of more on the same wavelength with, because even just having this group here, like having just knowing like that you have that support and I can say something, and like I won't feel judged, or that, you know, like there is absolutely an opportunity to like have a virtual, you know, something, and like people will show up, you know, like people will show up for you. And just kind of deconstructing all of that. But I just want to acknowledge that it does like feel, it just feels, can feel strong and deep, like when you first start, you know, doing it. And through the process is like I got just to get a bit of confidence to be able to actually say, hey, I'm not coming to your house. Sorry, you know, and then like, but then feeling eventually it did get like easier, but I guess it was more just like confidence, or feeling like sorting through all those feelings of like letting people down and what it means. But it was just interesting because like all those feelings were all about other people, like trying to make other people feel better about it. And like, but I was like, what? I'm not really feeling good about it, you know? I think it is like a skill, Petra. I just think you kind of get, for me, I could only describe it as just feeling like the confidence, or like the inner, like giving myself that inner, like that it's okay for me, and I'm allowed to do things just for me. And that's okay. Like I can do what what makes me feel safe, what brings me joy. And you know, and of course, you know, and then of course, like interaction with community and family and friends, like is important, but it's like I was doing it the reverse. Like I used to do it, be like thinking of other people, but it like I realized like I wanted it to start with me. And if what I want aligns with what other people are doing, like that's cool. And like, let's do that, you know? Um, but when I was you know, younger in my teen, just for where I was at in my teens and my 20s. Like it was just a lot about the pressure that I felt, and you know what I was supposed to do, and I wanted to I wanted to do what I thought was what I was supposed to do, because that's how my conditioning was, and that's how I felt worthy of love, is because I did I did what I was supposed to do. And so but that, went through a process of deconstructing all of that. And I'm still deconstructing it. There's other like layers to it. Um, I'm done. Jemmarie.
I'll jump on that. Okay. And y'all are about to see a bunch of whole video series probably about me ranting about Yule, like the upcoming holiday season, and how everyone's like, "Are you celebrating Yule? Yule is the witch's Christmas." And I just fucking gag about that all the time. Solstice is a general like celebrated thing, but not Yule. But anyway, these holidays, so what I was talking about, Ray, of like, taking the time to ask your system, what do I need during these times to feel connected, to be reminded of connection, and to be able to show my love and appreciation for those that I care about, right? Which is generally what the holidays are meant to be in some way, right? And being the chaos witch that I am, uh, and when we are doing this deconstruction work, where we're stripping you guys all the way back to who are you without the dogma, without the expectations, without the shoulds, what do you want? Creating your own celebrations, ways of celebrating and connecting during this time is really important, and it's really helpful. I said that I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving in decades, but I used to host a dinner every Sunday before Thanksgiving as a support for everyone, that all the black sheep that had to go spend time with people they didn't want to in a few days. So that was something that was important to me because I felt like I was supporting my community, right? And then like this year, I don't do Christmas and I don't do Thanksgiving, but I do a big family dinner where I invite everyone I know and love to my home. But it's like, I think we're doing it on the 9th this year. We don't prioritize a date, we prioritize a day that we can all be together because that's what's important, right? Not that it be done on a certain date. So, and as we go through this year, if you guys haven't already done that practice of asking yourself, what does my system need? What do I love about this season? What can I highlight about this season? And then create a ritual or a tradition off of that. And you can try something new every year. It doesn't have to be the same. I'm gonna jump off. Ta-da! And let me see. Quit. Go ahead.
Thank you, Jim Marie.
It's me. So to, I don't know, reiterate what Maria was saying too, that breaking through the people pleaser that I have trained and been trained to do my whole life of, making myself small so that I could accommodate everybody else, and that feeling of like having to show up and be there for everybody became really apparent to me this year. I didn't go to my families. I went to my partner's families for the first time for Thanksgiving in years, and knowing that my aunt specifically would be probably annoyed with me that I wasn't going, and being okay with that. I've realized that I haven't been the black sheep of my family, because that's just not how I was raised. My brother was the black sheep, but I was the perfect child, of doing what everyone else wanted me to do. And so becoming the black sheep now is lots of fun and a whole new feeling. And, becoming the black sheep because I'm becoming authentically who I am is, as a being, is pretty powerful. So it's I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to add in on that, Maria, of, yeah, totally feel that of like, whew, that's a let's go kind of feeling, And then Jen, when you were talking, it made me think about, like, I've been really thinking about about those things that I've wanted to celebrate. And as I started going through this process of deconstructing, I really turned away from Christmas specifically, of like, we're not going to decorate, we're not going to do anything. I used to decorate all the time, always watch all the holiday movies. And I realized that this year I actually miss having a Christmas tree. And so that's something that I've been thinking about. I just realized that this past weekend, or maybe a few days ago. So I haven't really processed through how I'm going to, what I'm going to do with that yet. But I know I want to do something and witchify it, of course, because that's just what I do now. But I'm excited now to dive into, well, what is it that I really want, and what is it that I really like, and going from Ray, kind of that feeling too of mourning of the thought of what a holiday should be, and I guess I just want to share there is the other end of that excitement too, of being able to define it the way that you want to define it, which is really freeing. It's tough, and it's going to take a lot to get there, but there is the other end of it as well too. So All right, ta-da with that. Let me pull up Zara.
Thank you, Wit.
Hello. So I'm gonna weigh in. The holidays, I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy them. I grew up with large family on both my mom and my dad's side. My dad had 6 siblings, my mom had like 10. So family was always around, and ever since I was a kid, it's just so overwhelming to be around that many people. So now that I'm an adult, I kind of like my peace and quiet, but like this year, my mother came down with my niece to spend Thanksgiving with us. And it was a nice, quiet, it was just me and my husband and my mother and my niece. And then my mother-in-law and brother-in-law decided to fly in on Saturday, and the house was chaotic because I love my mother-in-law, but she brings a lot of nervous energy. And I was so nervous about her coming that I had to come and ground Saturday morning because they flew in yesterday like at 6 a.m. So I was down here like at 5 a.m. grounding and just feeling all kind of emotions because she's been gone for 2 months and now she's back and she's bringing all that energy with her. And I'm just like, it was too many people in my house. And I don't know if anybody feels that way where you're around too many people and too much energy and you just like, you feel frazzled. And so I had to escape to my office a few times to come down and just kind of get some peace and quiet and, just kind of get away from people. And my niece had to do that a few times too, because she also has ADHD. So now we're ramping up because my mother-in-law is Catholic and she took it upon herself to let me know that when she was in Texas, she bought all this stuff to decorate my house, which I'm not very happy about. So, and I appreciate the gesture out of the kindness of her heart, but I don't decorate for the holidays. I just don't. We never have. And every time she's come to spend the holidays with us, it turns into a big festive thing. And so now that she's living with us, it's given me anxiety. So I don't know if anybody else feels that way when you're around too much family members. It's draining. And like today, I'm feeling drained as fuck. So I'm going to ground later. I didn't have time to ground this morning. I'm going to go ground later. But honestly, I cannot wait until New Year's is here. So that way, everything can kind of settle down. And, just the thought of Christmas and my house getting decorated and things that I don't want up around my house, like saints and stuff, just gives me anxiety. So, again, I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I don't know if it's just the energies, but it's like after some of my family members come and some of my husband's family members come after they leave, I have to sage my house. I have to get things kind of ordered and, get the peace restored. It's a little much. So, yeah, that's just kind of my feelings on it. And I do feel for people who, that can't be around family during the holidays. I know that feeling because I've been there. It's tough, but it's kind of like that fine line of just enough people or too much people. And it's just finding that happy medium. And then just kind of keeping your balance with it because it just gets a little hairy. So, but that's just my 2 cents in it. And I am going to go ahead and pass it off to Maria.
Hi. Yes, I feel that way too. One thing that's like always I've thought about off and on is like the picture of it, like the societal, picture of what a holiday is supposed to look like and all of that. And like, I'm sitting here being like, my parents are divorced, my dad's been married 3 times, I don't have whatever society says about relationships with your parents or your siblings, I don't fit into it, like 0%. And so like it also kind of like like as I got a little bit older, I was like why why am I trying to fit into this thing? Like it already doesn't, I already don't even have any of the components to like make it. But then so it was just like trying to then, it actually helped in some way for me to just be like, I just don't like whatever these traditions are that people are trying to say, they're not for me. Like I don't, they're not for me, because how can they be? Like it just doesn't, none of this like fits right. And it did actually just give me like a little bit of confidence to kind of then go away and like really do my own thing. There was certainly pressures from like grandparents, aunts, and things like that to like participate. Um, and things have kind of ended up in a way, also like realize that, my mom had chosen to like move into like a new state, and like I just had to recognize too that I was kind of putting some stuff on her to be like why aren't you coming, whatever. And now I don't ask her, that anymore. And I'm like, you know what, like I want to do what I want to do, and that means also like not like checking myself too when I felt like I was maybe not like reciprocating that to like other people. So it's been like a whole interesting kind of process. But I did want to mention one thing, and it's like certainly like we keep doing weigh-ins, but I for those of you that are maybe coming out of the broom closet or whatever, like I had mentioned kind of recently that I've started coming out to the broom closet more to my friend group. And I was with a friend group and we were chatting about it, and they were asking me some questions about it. And, I was just talking about some of it. And then one of them turns around to me and says, so what do you think, you're special? Like, as they were like, I was talking about hearing spirits. And they like, so what do you think, you're special? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is a whole nother level like of bullshit, Um, Now they were drinking, and like maybe they, I don't know, maybe they could have asked in a different way if they weren't, I'm not sure. But it was like also that like, okay, so now like, you're practicing witch and you're just trying to figure out your own like things. And it's just interesting. It's like you're either like not participating in something, or like you're doing your own thing. And then you get the like, oh, like, what do you think, you're special? And I'm like, dude, I don't have time for the shadow work right now. Like there's just a whole lot of like there's like not for myself, but like I'm feel like you need a journal prompt. Like we need to, but like we need to work through why you said that. Like what are your beliefs about like around this? Thank you, Melanie. Um, but it's just interesting, and it just comes like you just never know. It like comes kind of sometimes from all over the place when we're interacting with other humans. But just from like, doing the deconstruction and things like that, um, I guess there is a bit of like armor. I don't know, like not in the sense where I don't want to prevent things necessarily, but it's just like there is a bit of like, I suppose maybe, I don't know, like preparation for those like conversations. Um, it's just interesting. I just been thinking about that a lot. Like I've been thinking about like that comment, and I don't feel like bad about it. I thought it was kind of funny. And I'm like, well, it's sad that maybe you don't think you're special. And like, yes, I am special, but I think we all are. Like I think every human is, you know what I mean? So that was just interesting. It's just like these gatherings, these friends and family gatherings, and the different things that come up. Yep, yes, I am. All right. Cat. Cat is
I'm
next.
so glad you came around to saying you are special because I agree with you 100%. I would have been like, yes, I am special, and so are you. I have my own set of needs, desires, wants, and things that are unique to myself that I have to fulfill, and I am. I'm special. But I was thinking when we brought up the Christmas tree, and I was like, that is so amazing. Like, my brain just went to, I don't think I necessarily need quite so many standard decorations on my tree this year, as I'm thinking, what if instead of putting a bunch of bulbs and baubles and things like that up there, I put things to create intentions and things to create feelings, and put like all kinds of witchy things on my tree to make the holidays exactly like a manifestation tree. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, what should I manifest on my tree for the holidays? And I think I'm going to go in that direction and add lights, because lights just make the whole thing so sparkly and pretty. But yeah, that was my thought. I was like, oh, that just opened a whole new door to what I could do with my tree this year. Thank you. Is anybody else next? Otherwise, I can continue.
Julie Storm.
Julie, alrighty.
Hey y'all, and happy holidays in whatever way you perceive that. I don't know if this is on my mind because of a comment I got on TikTok, and I've been planning a video about it, but I wanted to kind of bring this perspective back to the holidays. It's like, regardless of what you identify it as, what you call it, the core of it, to me at least, is love and community, right? And I think a lot of our pain around this time can come from the fact that we sidestep that part and get really self-focused, And I think what always helps me around this time of year when I'm getting like that, because I came from a big family too, and a lot of them are gone, and you look back at those childhood memories, and what really you're clinging on to is this time when you felt love, that your family created this space of love for you. And I think when you hit a low like that, if you can shift your brain to, how can I love up on somebody else? How can I make somebody else feel loved? How can I make somebody else feel happy? Whether it's volunteering in the soup kitchen, or whatever it is. The thing that the spirit is constantly telling me over and over again is acts of kindness. The little things matter the most. How we treat each other. The I think the golden rule is the reason that all of the world's religions have that one thing in common is not an accident. And it's a very action based thing. Do unto others, keyword being do. So when you hit those times, just you're the one that's creating it, right? So how can you create more love and more togetherness and community? And that's just kind of all I wanted to say. Did I bring the vibe down? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sitting here like feverishly typing, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't type, so I'm just going to say it. Love is the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe, and that's why it's so deeply embedded into so many practices. The deeper your capacity to love, makes a difference. That just went like 10 different directions. My brain is mush. Go ahead, Ocean.
I've been thinking about the tree and like the decorations and that whole aspect. I've been um, really not participating for the last couple years in any sort of traditions because it just felt like work. And I didn't know why I was working that hard at a time when I was supposed to be resting. Um, and so I was missing having a tree too. this year, like how Wit said. And it's colder up here than it was in my hometown. And I brought a lot of plants with me, and they've been happy here, like during the summer and stuff. But the colder and more frosty that it gets, the more of my house plants I am, or my potted plants I'm losing. So I just had the urge to bring them inside to save as many as I could. Um, and then I was reading about the original like idea of a Christmas tree was to give woodland like spirits a warm place to hang out in your house to get away from the snow. Um, and I don't know how accurate that is because I saw it on a TikTok, but that gave me the idea that I kind of did want a little like safe haven for like the spirit of my plants. And I decided I'm just going to put some bells onto my plants this year in case they need anything um, while they're in here, and while they're, guests in my home, then I can tend to them. And I'm really curious to see how that's going to, like, I've been leaning into my house uh, yesterday and this whole season. If it feels like this whole like month or two, I've been like communicating more with my house and rearranging things, and in ways that make sense to both of us, in ways that make sense for like my self-care and comfort and the flow of my life movement, and also things that make my house Tabitha happy. Like uh we were moving a bookshelf yesterday, and it was a really old bookshelf anyway. Like, it was from my partner's childhood, but the backboard broke off of it, and it tried to collapse like all the way sideways, like just fold in on itself. And my partner wanted to put the books away in a box until we could either get another shelf or do something else with them. And I was like, "But we have a shelf." Like, we had a shelf, and it just had a couple of extra things on it that's, like, built into the house. And Tabitha was like, "I have a shelf." Like, I could just feel her being like, "I have a shelf. Here, put them here." And so, in all the books that were fit on, like, 2 or 3 different shelves fit on one whole shelf, in the built-in shelf. And it feels really good to be integrating with my house. And I realized that the ways that I decorated my house before, like the ways that I wanted to make it look um like different for the holidays, or different for like when people came over, or cleaned or whatnot, was like, it was like trying to put a mask on my house. And I don't feel like I need to cover my house up anymore. I feel like the more that I lean into things, the more it feels like I already have everything that I need here. I have everything I need to feel like the holidays are the holidays within my reach, without having to go buy a bunch of like plastic tinsel you know, um, and bows and ties. And I even have packaging because I save all my packaging from the Bright and Dark broom boxes. So I even have like present packages and bags and stuff to put little things in. Because gift giving is the only thing that I held on to. The only thing that really brings me joy is gift giving in the holidays, because I love to show people like that I know them, or that I'm thinking of them. That is just really fun for me. And decorating my house feels like I'm like, and bringing in like this tree that was grown just for the purpose of like being in my house to be like decorated. It almost feels like masking the tree itself. um, I'm gonna go ahead and stop my rant there. But thank you for listening to me. Go ahead, Morgana.
Oh, by the way, Ocean, there's a very long tradition in many cultures of leaving gifts for nature spirits um, in many, many different ways. So it's not just a tick thing. It's you're tapping into a long and storied tradition. Okay, so subject change. Um, so I accidentally gave myself a card reading while sitting here. Minor preamble. I very, very rarely have dreams that I remember, but I had 3 dreams that I remembered in the same night. I'll go super quickly just to hit the high points. The first one, I was in a house where they were trying to preserve things, but not by renewing things or repairing things. And it was obviously not working. And I was bringing that to their attention, and they were not having it. The second one, I was trying to produce a big production that seemed focused around what I expected others to want to see from me. And then the third one was me hiding who I was and being who I'd been in the past to meet others' expectations. This all fits with where things are going in my life and being like, these are things that you don't want to do anymore. I was shuffling my cards. I was shuffling my cards to shuffle my cards. First card that jumped out was Judgment. The clarifying cards that jumped out were the Four of Cups and the Three of Wands. So, and I figured I'd share it with the collective in case that like helped anybody else. For me, you know, hanging on to past judgments, hanging on to past versions of myself, is holding me back. It's holding up. Kind of being scared of potential future me. Because I don't know what that is. That's kind of scary. You know, Four of Cups. I'm very cerebral. So, you know, kind of being lost in my thoughts. You know, not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be if I take it too far. Three of Wands, you know, if I can get past those 2 roadblocks, I can see things happen. So that's how I interpreted it for myself. You know, y'all can take that for whatever it means to you.
Ocean.
Can I share what I got from that reading? Okay, awesome. So judgment has been coming up for me so much lately. The card, the word, the act. I have been judging the hell out of myself for probably my whole life, but the self-awareness that I have of it because of the work that I've been doing is I want to say it's painful, but we all know it's the resistance to like letting go of the judgment that's really painful. It's holding on to the judgments that's causing me pain. But what I got from that, I don't relate to tarot in the traditional way. I want to preface with that. And so, but the way that I related to that was the Four of Cups, um, the structure of emotional release, right? Like a release ritual, which is like super highlighted for me right now. I need to do a release ritual. I need to do some manifestation. I need to do some trance work, like in like the dream state. And I'm really having a hard time leaning into those things because I am not structuring my emotional release first. I have work to do, but it's magic. It's not work. And the Three of Cups, I'm sorry, the Three of Wands. So wands they are air, they are thought to me. They're like representative of the mind. And three for me is a number of creation, is creativity. And so what that reading told me is the artistic block that I'm having right now is something that I is full of judgment. It's a box full of judgment, and the box is made up of like um these things that I'm perceiving as bars when really they're instructions. They're information, like on like going about how to like open my creative flow. that's that's me. Go ahead, Maria.
So, this is random, but not really. But I had just like these cards. They have the journal prompts on them, and I just picked them up and I just intuitively started shuffling them, and I don't know why. But I was like, what a fun little thing maybe to like write down all your journal, like just the journal prompts and shuffle them. And just like, I was like, maybe I could ask like, what journal prompt still needs my attention? I don't know. It was just a fun little thing that I just made up and I wanted to share it with you because I was shuffling these cards. And if you don't have these cards, you can make it your own. But I suppose you could kind of do that with anything, you know, like for those that like the idea of tarot, but maybe like don't know the tarot yet. And like, you could really like do it with anything, write down just, things on cards and like what still needs my attention and then see what pops up. That's all. Let me know if you do it. Melanie said dangerous little game. Yeah. Well, dangerous, fun. Depends on your perspective. I agree though. All right. Let's see who is next. Anybody? Anybody? Oh, beautiful cards. Oh, I love that deck. Morgana, can you do you mind putting the name of the deck? Those are
I
gorgeous.
just like almost audibly heard a bunch of you guys. I don't need a new deck. I don't need a new deck. I don't need a new deck. Or was that just
Absolutely.
like me super loud in my own head? Go ahead, Petra.
Both.
Yeah, I was like, those are really nice. I don't like very like about decks. I have 2 tarot decks. They've both been given to me, and then one oracle deck. Or no, 2 oracle decks that I've bought, and I'm like, I just can't. Like, I don't have physical space to collect. And they're always so pretty. I think we've kind of talked about a bunch of stuff today, and one of the things that I wanted to bring it back to was just when we were talking about the kind of like good bad binary. And I heard, what Maria was saying about kind of the like, sorry, I have a dog that's snoring underneath of this desk, and she's making me very sleepy, so it's very distracting. I'm just like, I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. This is bedtime noise. But what was I trying to say? Right, is the good bad binary. So like I'm not a big fan of binaries in general. But definitely the moral binary of like this is good or this is bad. And I know we were talking about kind of like radical acceptance and kind of just being like it just is. And I wanted to say like yes, that. And oftentimes I think that maybe this is because I'm a hyper verbal person and I like love words. Like, oh, they're my favorite thing in the whole world, obviously. But are there other words that we can use to describe what we're experiencing other than good and bad? So like, I don't like the word bad for things because I feel like it places a moral judgment on something. But sometimes I can't just be like, this just is, because I'm like not that zen. I'm like, no, I'm fucking pissed about this. This is terrible. And so saying like this is hard or this is difficult or it's challenging or I'm like I'm sad, I'm scared, I'm terrified, like naming, because I often feel like in society like good and bad are these like conditioned like placeholders to cover. They're kind of like a way to intellectualize and be like, well, it's bad so I don't have to think about or feel what's really happening. And so it was just I was listening to that and I was like, this is an invitation that I've given to myself a long time ago, like long before I really even knew that I was doing any type of magic ever, was like the words that we use are really important. And sometimes it's not even about like that the word, like it's definitely not that the words are bad or wrong. It's that like sometimes they're incomplete and we have these like auto scripts. And so it's an invitation to be like, what kind of feelings do I label as bad? What kind of experiences do I label as bad and why? Like for me, so many times I would just be like, I would repress and shut down any type of difficult emotion that required like my body to be comforted, because that comfort wasn't available to me as a child. And because trying to ask for comfort was like absolutely fucking terrifying for people. And so like that was bad, but it wasn't bad. It was just scary. And it was like I was unpracticed at it. And so the more I've practiced like holding my own body with somatic tools and comforting my own inner child when those big feelings come up, it's like they're not bad. They're not even hard anymore. They're just, like, do I want to do it in the middle of the mall? No. I want to go to my car and like have a little sob sesh and then like go back to whatever I was doing, but and even like it's the same invitation on the other side of like the things that we think are good. Like, are there other words for those experiences? Like, is it enjoyable? Is it like delightful? Do I feel soothed? Do I feel settled? Do I feel excited but like not stressed? Like what is, I think that there's that wheel of emotions that you can kind of like Google. And I think looking at that sometimes can kind of the more, so the term is emotional prosody. So it's basically our fluency in like our emotion. So the more words and language and kind of like, this, I get this tight feeling in my chest when I'm anxious and scared versus when I'm anxious and excited, it actually is more in my arms and I want to like run around or whatever. Like getting to know what those feel like so we can have a better understanding of what we're experiencing and what might feel supportive in those times can be really beneficial. So I just wanted to like bring that forward. And also say that like, I'm really glad that everybody kind of like mentioned the like, it's really hard. But it also comes in layers. And I think that this is the piece of it where, like our minds just want to like go to the next good thing, like dopamine seeking kind of stuff. It's just like, get me in a place where it's not uncomfy. But our bodies hold these memories of like the good, the bad, the ugly, the like wonderful, all the things, and the more we can kind of build the capacity to sit with the discomfort and the distress. And in somatics, that's like the word is titration. So that's not like an all or none, like, oh my goodness, I feel like so incredibly like absolutely monsooned by this grief. I might drown. I kind of want to like not be here anymore. Like, okay, like move out of that place and go do something else. That's not a bad thing. Like the feelings and the stuff that lives in our body, I've learned this in somatics, will come out bit by bit as it's safe. So it's this, even I think sometimes in healing work, we can get this idea that like, I have to sit with the thing. I have to think so hard and I have to make myself stick here. And it's like, not really. Like your body's going to release what it has to release. And then, regulation is not about being calm or collected. It's actually about being in like flowing in and out of things, right? As we like, our nervous systems need to activate because like, oh, I have to go grab the dog because they're about to run into the street, and then, oh, I'm calm. Okay, like the danger has passed and now that can flow through, and oh, maybe I need to cry because that was actually really scary. And then I can kind of like go about my day. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just wanted to share those pieces. And also just say that like spaces like this, like where we can kind of have that in polyvagal theory, that like social support or ventral vagal support can like really help us hold more than we might be able to hold alone. So if you're ever like in a group setting and you're like, well, I'm like, in SASS or like in sacred space or whatever, I'm able to like feel so much, but when I'm on my own, like I can't, like it's too hard, or I want to just, I think that the idea of resistance is important. Resistance is like sometimes is a boundary from your body being like, I don't have the capacity for this, fuck off. Like I can't actually do this yet. Like we haven't built enough safety for this to be a thing that you can touch into. Your mind thinks like, let's go for it. Let's get it done. I don't want to, like, let's just get to the other side of it. And your body's like, cute, absolutely not. And so I just wanted to like bring that forward because, these things can be really, I think it's like the body is very simple, but it's also like nuanced, if that makes any sense. Like there's a lot of different things, and I think that has to do with a lot of the ways that we're very mind focused and mind led, because of how psychology is functioned in society, right? And the kind of, you can thank Descartes for that. The mind and body are different, except they're not. I fucking hate that dude. Like every time I say his name, I'm just like, you fucked us over so good, you jackass. But I'm gonna leave space for, I'm like, there's not that much time left. And I don't know who's next. I think it's Jen Marie and then there's Matt. Okay, so take it away, Jen Marie.
We may not have enough time to. Matt, did you want to weigh in on what was said, or were you wanting to change the topic?
On Morgana's stuff real quick. I did have a card spit out at me. I just wanted to at least pass it along and then you can change the topic.
Sure.
Yeah, so Morgana, something about mixing it up, like came screaming out without getting into all the details of, because my deck isn't a normal deck, but yeah, something about mixing it up, shuffling things up, just screamed out very clearly. So hopefully that means something to you and shines a little light. And go ahead, Jen.
I love how we naturally kind of come full circle a lot of times in our conversations. And I started SASS out talking about, I'm experiencing something really intense with my body, and that this is a practice of me being able to sit with that from a place of acceptance and support instead of that resistance and like pushing through that we like to do. And this is a practiced thing. It has taken a long time for me to have this relationship with my mind. And it started back when I first started studying sorcery, actually. My mentor, one of the first things that he did was take the words good and bad from my vocabulary. And so I couldn't use those words. Those were like, you know, off limits words. And when you do that, when you take words out of your vocabulary like that, it brings your awareness to how often you do it, right? And it is often. Using the words good and bad is so deeply ingrained. And then you start seeing how much you are applying morality to things that are dumb, like super dumb. I caught a cold. This is bad. I must have done something wrong. God hates me because I have a cold. Like it gets really deep in there. And so anyone that has been pinged about this whole like good and bad or applying morality, hate is another big one. Yeah. Um, the words that you say bear weight. And the more like, and I'm not saying this from a place of obsessing about saying just the right thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there is no right thing. The right, wrong, good, bad there is. And as long as you are operating from your best, like doing your best from a place of authenticity and a place aligned with uh, your morality, then it is what it is, right? It's that good and bad that like really, really hangs us up. And yeah, I had something else floating around in my head, but it is no longer there. For those of you that are in foundations and are going into your closure week, that you are doing your reflection over the work that you've done this past month. That closure and reflection is so important to do to incorporate into your practice, regardless of what it is that you're doing. Giving transition time to go from one deep topic to another deep topic of introspection is a kindness to your system. And that's one of the reasons why we created this final transition part of your workings for the month. Um, One thing I haven't talked about yet is the changes that we've made to the Spellcrafters Guild. Now that Foundations, the workbook is launched and we've got a lot of the systems set up, I can turn my attention to I'm thinking of, but the guild itself. Am I frozen? Am I frozen? Y'all are
You
frozen.
did freeze, but you're back.
Was it awesome? Was it great? My freeze face.
It's a good one, yes.
uh, what we're doing with the guild is it is becoming very coven-like in that I want to teach connection-based magic. And that takes a practice and cultivating that connection. And the Spellcrafters Guild is that. It's a deeper dive into magic and your personal connection to magic, with the support of other practitioners, and where we meet twice a month to discuss and work through specific curriculum as well as personal practices. And it will be evolving to more of, since I am aligning with flow more, I like having the freedom of when I get poked to teach on a specific topic or to dive into a specific topic, I get to go to the guild and be like, hey, does anyone want to learn this? And then we pop in and do the thing. Um, Basically, the Spellcrafters Guild is, oh no, I hate saying my students or like whatever acolytes, but that's kind of what it is. Uh, but again, connection magic focused. So it is a little bit different with how we approach things. The Witchwork Cache was, we've been dreaming about this for what, Kim, like a year now since the guild started, and I wanted to do a subscription box that supported the guild in the way that the new broom box supports foundations. And so that's ta-da. Apparently my brain just dropped the mic and here we go. You guys are amazing. Thank you for joining us today and hanging out and sharing your perspectives. I love what we do here. And you guys have a great rest of your week. And may your practice be expansive and filled with many blessings, bright and dark. Bye, guys.